MMA Boxing Talk here. I just wanted to put out a video previewing UFC 209. I know today is UFC 208. I haven't put any prediction videos out for that. I've been really busy lately. As you can tell, I haven't put out a video in over a week. But the event that's on my mind is UFC 209. That's the real that's the real big card in the first quarter of 2017. Let's be honest. It's been a pretty slow January, February. Not a whole lot going on. But 209's a big card, and I'm excited for it. I just want to talk about the main event and the co-main event quickly, and tell you who I'm leaning towards at this point. I still want to watch some more fights before I put out my actual prediction videos, but just want to let you guys know who I'm leaning for, get your take, and just talk about it. I'm excited for this. It's a big card. The main event and the co-main event are huge fights. In the co-main event, we have Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. In my opinion, I keep saying this, but it's the best matchup the UFC has. On all the UFC roster, it's the best matchup I think they can put together. Tony, and not just because of this, but Tony Ferguson's on a 9-fight win streak in the Shark Tank division of the UFC. An incredible feat. And Khabib Nurmagomedov, undefeated, and he's 8-0 in the UFC. So both these guys are on tremendous streaks, very successful in the UFC, and they're gonna face head to head. Number 1 versus number 2. The winner is going to get the interim title and hopefully their chance to fight Conor McGregor. Let's hope Conor doesn't duck neither of these guys because, I've given Conor passes for not defending his title up until now. But if he doesn't fight the winner of Khabib and versus Tony, there's only a very small amount of exceptions I'll give McGregor. If he fights Floyd, okay, I understand. If the UFC allows him to fight Aldo before Tony or Khabib, I would have maybe understand. A lot of fans want to see that fight, or a trilogy with Nate Diaz. But let's be honest here, the real fight fans want to see how Conor McGregor matches up against Tony or Khabib. This fight's great though. I mean, you have Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is a premier wrestler, by far the best grappler in the UFC. I mean, this guy gets takedowns like it's his job. Very relentless, very pressure oriented. He's going to get in your grill. He's going to throw crazy strikes on the feet. He's very reckless on the feet. He's very open to get countered though. His stand up isn't the best. His boxing defense is pretty well horrible. I mean, he's got his chin sticking way out and his arms are basically flailing. That's kind of his defense. Very stiff, upright. He's there to be hit. We saw that in the first 2 minutes of the Michael Johnson fight. Michael Johnson was tagging Khabib up those first 2 minutes, and of course, we all know what happened in the rest of the fight. But so Khabib's got to be, he can't strike with Tony Ferguson. If say for some reason Khabib can't take Ferguson down, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But of course, Khabib's going to get Tony to the ground, I believe. But can he keep him down there consistently throughout the whole fight? That's very interesting because we all know, holding someone down, grinding them out in the style that Khabib fights in is by far the most taxing style. It takes a lot of energy, and we've never seen Khabib do it at a high level for 5 rounds straight. Not saying he doesn't have good cardio. I'm just saying we've never seen it happen before. Where we know Tony Ferguson has tremendous cardio. We saw what he did against RDA at high altitude, landed 200 punches. He's got Nate Diaz cardio. It's world-class cardio, and it's proven. And what's going to happen, if Khabib does get hit on the feet a little bit, that sometimes hurts your gas tank. If you're getting clipped and you're getting hurt and you're getting rocked a bit, it's going to be tougher to get those takedowns, And Tony Ferguson is no slouch in the grappling department himself, I mean, Tony Ferguson, his base is wrestling, Granted, he's not as good of a wrestler as Khabib Nurmagomedov is, but his jiu-jitsu is a lot better than Khabib's. Has great submissions, and he's going to be throwing those submissions up all the time. So Khabib's going to have a lot to worry about. It's not just going to be holding him down and keeping him there. He's going to have to worry about the threat of submissions. He's going to have to worry about that Darce choke when he goes in for his takedowns. It's going to be a very tough fight for Khabib, and I am leaning towards Tony Ferguson, as you can probably tell already. But I do see Tony Ferguson as the more well-rounded fighter. He's definitely the better fighter on the feet. He's got a great chin. So if Khabib does land on him, he's going to take those shots. His cardio is proven. And, his jiu-jitsu's better as well. I could see a submission for Tony Ferguson in this fight. But, I also see, Khabib having a good chance of winning as well. But I do think Tony Ferguson, he's he's a very unorthodox guy. He's got very untraditional scrambles. His scrambles are phenomenal. It's something to see. And I just don't know if Khabib's going to be able to have his way with him like he did with Michael Johnson and like he did with RDA. I've seen Khabib in some of his fights have a little bit of trouble getting the takedown. I know against Gleison Tibau he couldn't take him down at all throughout the fight, and actually he got taken down twice himself against Gleison Tibau. Mind you, Gleison Tibau is is built like a shit brick house, very strong, but he was kind of just standing there, and Khabib got his hands on him quite a bit. Where Tony might be a little more awkward to get a hold of. And against Pat Healy, he went for quite a bit of takedowns in that first round, wasn't successful. Pat Healy, as he got tired, Khabib took him down, but Tony Ferguson doesn't get tired. So very interesting stuff. I want to hear what you guys think, but I'm definitely leaning towards Tony Ferguson in this fight. Unless something changes, I get a gut feeling or something, I think I'm going to stick with Tony Ferguson, but let me know what you guys think. And then in the main event, we have a highly anticipated rematch between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus the champion Tyron, the chosen one, Woodley. Great fight. The first fight was super close. It was a draw. I thought it was reasonable to be a draw. That fourth round was definitely a 10-8 for Tyron Woodley. Woodley also won the first. And I thought Wonderboy won the second round, the third round, and the fifth round. And because of the 10-8 round, of course, it's a draw. And two of the judges had it a draw. Now, I do think that that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson does have the advantage in this rematch, and here's why. Because he is the technical striker. He's the chess master when it comes to the stand-up game, and he's gonna have a lot of footage to go back on and dissect the last fight, and see where he went wrong. Might have been a little bit timid at certain times, not eager to pull the trigger on Tyron Woodley, and for good reason. He's got a lot of power, very dangerous. We saw what happened in that fourth round. But, and I don't want to take anything away from Tyron Woodley, but if that fourth round, if he doesn't land that first big, powerful overhand right on Wonderboy, which was the first real clean shot he landed the whole fight, if that doesn't happen, Woodley doesn't win that fight, and obviously, he tagged Wonderboy. He got up right away, but he was dazed. He wasn't there, and then he got tagged again. He got dropped, and then we all saw what happened. Tyron Woodley sunk in the guillotine. Obviously, a miracle that Wonderboy didn't tap. That skinny neck of his, I thought was going to snap in half. Oof. But showed a lot of toughness. And, I just think that, Wonderboy is going to learn a lot from this. And I think he's going to correct his mistakes. And I just don't know if Tyron Woodley lands that big overhand right in the rematch, Because if he doesn't, and it's an if, you know what I mean? He might land 3 of them. He might get him, he might win all the rounds in this fight. He might knock him out. But knowing Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I just think he's going to make the correct adjustments. He's going to come in. He's going to be more precise. He's going to have a better game plan. He's going to have a lot of footage, like I said, to dissect. And I just don't know. I'm not confident that Tyron Woodley lands that overhand right again. And that's my reasoning why I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, has a better chance in the rematch than Tyron Woodley does. That's just how I see it. But let me know what you guys think. I mean, Tyron Woodley might come in with a totally different game plan and, surprise Wonderboy. I'm not sure. But he might use his wrestling more in this fight as well. But Wonderboy has very good takedown defense. But Woodley will be able to take him down, if he's persistent enough. There's no doubt. But I do think it'll be a close fight again, though. But I am leaning towards Wonderboy Thompson in this one. I think if he pulls it off, I think this time it'll be a unanimous decision. And I just don't see him getting into as much trouble as the first one. But let me know what you guys think. That's it for this one. If you like the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMA Boxing Talk 1. Also like to add, there's 2 other really good fights on that UFC 209 card. We got Alistair Overeem versus Mark Hunt. Great fight. And also the young stud groovy Lando Venata. He's also fighting someone that was Tamor or someone like that was on, I think, McGregor Faber, the Ultimate Fighter with McGregor Faber. So, I mean, Lando Venata should be a very heavy favorite, and he should look spectacular in that fight. But that's it for this one. If you liked the video, subscribe. Peace.